Hey there! Welcome to the exciting world of C programming. If you're just starting out with C programming and eager to learn the fundamentals, you're in the right place. You've probably heard the word array tossed around a lot in programming discussions and tutorials. But what exactly is an array in C at its core? And more importantly, why do people use it so extensively in their code? What problems does it solve? Super simple, no jargon, just the basics. We'll focus on clarity and understanding. Alright, picture this. Let's create a scenario to help you visualize what arrays are useful for. Imagine you've got to keep track of your scores in 5 different games you're playing. You could make 5 separate variables to store each of those scores. That's one way to do it. You might name them score 1, score 2, score 3, and so on, up to score 5. But what if you had 100 scores to manage, or even 1,000? That would get messy and hard to manage, right? Imagine writing out 100 different variable names. This is precisely where arrays come in to save the day. They offer a much cleaner and more efficient solution. An array is best visualized as like a row of lockers all lined up neatly, where each individual locker is designed to hold one specific value, like a game score in our example. And the key thing is, all the lockers are right next to each other, in a continuous sequence. This adjacent arrangement is what makes arrays so powerful for organizing related data in a systematic way. In C, you declare or create an array using a specific syntax. You start by first telling the computer what type of data you plan to store inside the array. This could be integers, whole numbers, floats, decimal numbers, characters, or other data types. Then you specify the name of your array, just like naming a variable. Here's what that looks like in actual C code. Let's see an example. This line of code tells the computer to set aside enough space in memory to hold 5 integer values. These integer values will be all neatly lined up, one after the other in the computer's memory. Now, the next logical question is, how do you actually put things into these lockers, or array elements? It's quite easy. Each spot or position in the array is referred to as an index. So the very first element in the array is accessed using. The second element is, the third is, and so on in a sequential manner. All the way up to, for our 5-element array. Remember, we started counting at 0, so if you wanted to set your first score to a value of 10, you would write the following line of code. And conversely, if you wanted to retrieve or grab the value of the third score from the array, you'd use. Arrays are incredibly useful and powerful tools in programming, especially when you need to store and manage a collection of lots of related values of the same type. This could be anything from a series of test scores, a sequence of temperature readings, or even the individual letters that make up a word. And perhaps the best part about using arrays? You can easily loop through all the elements of an array using a simple loop. This makes it incredibly easy and efficient to perform the same operation or action on every single element in the array. However, it's important to remember that arrays in C have a fixed size that you must define up front. So once you declare an array like specifying that it can hold 5 elements, you cannot dynamically add a 6th score to that array later on without potentially causing issues. If you try to access an index that is outside the valid range of the array, for example, trying to access when your array is only defined up to, you'll likely encounter weird and unpredictable behavior in your program. Therefore, it's crucial to always stay within the defined bounds of your array to avoid these types of errors. So that's the fundamental gist of arrays in C programming. Think of them as a well-organized and tidy row of lockers, specifically designed for storing your data in a structured manner. They help keep your code clean and readable, and they make handling large quantities of related values much easier and more efficient, leading to a smoother programming workflow. If you're interested in diving even deeper into the world of arrays and C programming, I highly recommend that you try creating an array yourself in a C program. Experiment with setting different values in the array, and then retrieving those values to display them. The more you practice working with arrays, the more comfortable and proficient you'll become. Alright, that's going to wrap it up for today's lesson on arrays in C. Thanks so much for joining me, and happy coding. I hope you found this helpful.